Yeah, so I'm going to talk about wild boars, and first the answer to that is that I have no idea. So that's the bottom line of this talk. But let's start and see what we do know about boars. This is the most widely distributed ungulates in the world. You can see this is the natural distribution of wild boars. It was extinct from much of the Nile basement. It was introduced to parts in Southeast Asia, Australia, and the Americas, some in South Africa as well. It was reintroduced to parts in Europe, in England, and Europe. Now, wild boars are territorial, polygynous, omnivores, and they show very high fertility rate. And in the past 40 years, we have seen the expand of their population worldwide, not only in Israel. We have seen that they increase their geographic distribution and the density is also increases in many parts of their distribution. Now there are quite a few human wild boar conflicts. We can see it in epidemics to livestock and people, vehicle collision, reduction of plants and animals in nature reserves, in protected area where wild boars roam, and also it's one of the most concerned problem in Israel is the agriculture and damage to gardens. Now, there are why they expanded so much. So first, everybody is here talking about food availability, and that's probably one of the reasons why wild boars expand all over the world. But they also have some innate characters like proliferacy abilities, their ability to invade a different environment, the lack of predators, the opportunistic feeding, urbanization of natural habitat. That means increased food and water, and also adaptation to human presence. Now, what do? We hunt. I mean, wherever there is a conflict between humans and wild animals, often, and like in the case of wild boars, the solution is to go and hunt. And right now, this is the primary method where people try to control the numbers of wild boars worldwide. But their numbers continue to grow, and the range continue to expand. And this is something that we start to think, what can we do about it? And I'm actually opening it here for conversation, to talk with you. I will show you what we plan to do together with my graduate student, Achia Davidson, that moved from working on wild ass to working on wild boars, and let's see what is possible to do. So we see that all over the world, we see that people go hunt boars, and in those places the population continue to grow. So maybe the hunting is the problem. Maybe the hunting itself is the problem why we see an increase in wild boar population. And we know that high hunting pressure selects for earlier sexual maturity and causes juvenile females to reproduce earlier with increasing adult mortality. This is something that we have seen in many places around the world. And this phenomenon, it causes the boar generation time to shorten, and eventually to higher reproduction rate in wild boar. Now, this is not enough. We believe that knowing this fact about hunting and wild boar is not enough, because if we really want to start and do something about it and to change management or to think about alternative management, we need to go really inside and understand why this is happening. How come? I mean, it sounds reasonable, but we don't really understand the mechanism behind it, why hunting itself causes increased reproduction. So there are several consequences for hunting. We can see that hunting causes changes in spatial usage. It changes the pattern of refuge. It changes habitat selection, and one of the most important things is that it changed the male yearling dispersal patterns. So male yearling demonstrate low dispersal rate, and this is important. Remember that, because I'm going to use that later on. And so what is the mechanism? We suggest in our study two alternative mechanisms for this increased reproduction rate under hunting pressure. One is that selective hunting of adult males leads to early access of reproduction for young males, even within the same social group. And we call it Bohr effect. I will show you in a second. I will explain more about the Bohr effect. The other alternative hypothesis is that domesticated pigs, we know that domesticated pigs show under short-term stressor a higher reproduction rate. So these are two alternative methods that we are looking for. Let's talk about the Bohr effect. Now, if you took my course, Ecology of Reproduction in Oranim, and Ariane, I know you haven't, you, right? You didn't. You did? Okay. So you probably heard about the Vandenberg effect. Vandenberg effect, I won't ask you. Vandenberg effect is the earlier onset of puberty seen in female animals that are housed with males. It's caused by a pheromone in the male urine, and it was first observed in mice. Now we know that there is a similar effect in other animals. We see it in goats, and we see it in boars, and in farm. Farmers use this effect often to decrease the maturity time of females and to promote early puberty. And this is a farmer trying to check if the female is ready. This is a kind they push their back and check if they make this lordosis effect on them. So what we suggest is that if male yearling demonstrate low dispersal rate, they might stay in their own groups and actually cause the female to decrease their reproduction, their puberty time, to become reproductive earlier than we usually expect. And this is I'll show you here a short movie that we took. How we do that? No, just a second. No. Yeah, I can't find the cursor. Where is it? You see it? You see it? Ah, okay. I don't see it. Okay. Okay, so you see here, these are yearlings, males, full of testosterone, playing around. They didn't disperse, and they even hit the camera. You will see it soon. Really full. Yeah, that's the camera now is also attacked by them. So we have these males that they don't disperse under this high hunting regime, and they might affect the puberty, the early puberty of females. So we made this hypothesis and prediction about what's happening, and we want to check. I'll go that over. I'll go fast here, and just to say that we say that culling efforts cause social disruption. More male yearling will remain in their natal home range. They will accelerate the turnover of adults, and we also believe that there is another option of increasing the stress level under hunting pressure. We made this matrix of hypotheses under hunting, no hunting, food, no food, and what we expect. We went out and examined boars in an urban environment, in agricultural fields, in nature reserves, so we can account for different levels of food levels, different levels of hunting, and our study is in the Haifa, in the Carmel area, Haifa area, and all the Carmel region around it. Okay, we set cameras. And we look at the demography at the time of deliveries, the size of testicles, pregnancy, vigilance, and I will skip this movie, and no, I'll show you. Just show you, maybe show you this. This is the kind of camera that we set in the field, and we can actually take good counts of demography and other aspects of the boars. We also, so I told you that the other alternative is stress hormone. Stress hormone, a low level of stress hormone can actually increase reproduction in the boars. We believe this is an alternative method. So we start to collect hair samples, and we will compare the hormonal levels together with the leucoren that is right here in this room. We started also to look at the stress level using the giving up density method by giving the animals food in the field and examining the amount of food, of leftover food in these trays that Mika's dad made. And Mika is the student that is working in the field, setting all these giving up density devices. So we set all these devices around and to examine the giving up density and the consequence to vigilance on that. So, but this is what we see in the field. So these are the these special trays where we have corn inside together with the plastic pebbles, and the idea was that in high hunting area we expected that the animals will have a low level of feeding, will leave much of the corn behind, and this is what we see in urban areas. Sometimes we get that too. They actually ruined our our devices. But the surprising thing that we found was that in country boars, those that we left them these devices in agricultural fields and in most of the nature reserves, they are scared to death to come close to these devices and to our cameras. So you see here, it's a camera set on a trail of boars, and they are really, really scared compared to the boars compared to the urban boars. Here I'll show you just another short movie. You see, this is the device. It's full of food. They are very hungry, but they will not get close even to the trays. So we found several interesting preliminary results. First, we have some hunting. It's not in urban areas. We have some hunting, and in other urban areas we have no hunting, and we see no difference in the terms of how much food they leave behind. And usually the boars will eat either everything, they will eat all the food, or none of it. So in agricultural fields, actually, boars do not feed at all. They are so scared. They are so vigilant. They are under such a high pressure of hunting. They do not get close to our devices. In some nature reserves, they do, but overall, compared to the urban boars that readily go and feed on almost all our devices, the ones in the agricultural fields and in the nature reserves almost do not go even near our devices. And actually, we weren't able to do the giving up density experiment as we expected, because we practically had no feeding at all in the agricultural fields. So just to sum these interim conclusions, the urban boars, it seems that they lost their fear from humans, and in both agricultural and nature reserves, boars show high vigilance. They don't go into to feed from our traps, and this is a problem we have to face now, and how to eventually also get some kind of understanding about their stress level. This might be from the help of Lee from the hair samples. So this is just about what we are doing now, and I want to thank Achia Davidson, who is the graduate student that is working on this study. Dan Malkinson is my colleague on this, and Mika here is the undergrad that is doing your project on the boars. And thank you, University of Haifa, Mata Nadiv helped us, and also the Compassionate Conservation is helping in some part of this study. Thank you.